Hey traders, Mark here. In tonight's video, what I want to discuss is I want to talk about making a mental shift in your trading. First, let's start off with the forex trade from last night on the pound dollar. It was stopped out today, so I took a stop on that, and there were no new forex trades to put on today. Okay. Now, I want to talk about a very important concept. So, as traders, well, let me say, as retail traders, we are brought up in this industry, most of us through education, from various websites, Google searches, whatever it is. So we get our perceptions about trading from various educators, right? And it may be something you read in a book, it may be something you watch on YouTube, whatever it is, you know what I'm talking about. I'm no different than you guys. One of the hardest things that I've had to do was to make that mental shift. And I want to talk about why it's so difficult to do that. Because I have spent, now I'm sure a lot of you out there think that you've worked really hard building your trading system or your trading plan, or worked really hard to become profitable. But there's a difference between working hard and working smart and hard, okay? It takes both. Now, what I mean is, anyone who has watched me in the room or for any amount of time, you have seen the links that I go to analyze trading. I'll spend 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I'll do that for 2 or 3 months to build a system. Now, I realize that we don't all have the luxury to spend that kind of time, right? Because you guys all have to make money. You have jobs. So my point is, when you've spent this much time trading and testing, you get what I call tunnel vision. And it's really hard to admit when you need to make some changes to what you're doing. Now, that's what I had to do this year in my trading. See, I've been trading the same way for a few years, and I've logged thousands of trades using the exact same system. Now, the one thing that held true was using zones for my trend direction and my trading, and using specific price action bars. Now, I want to talk about these specific zones that you're looking at. So when I trade, at the end of a day, what I do is I go through the charts and I look at what could I have done better and what did I do well. It's important that you do this. It doesn't have to be done daily, but it's important you do it at least weekly. Otherwise, you're never going to allow your trading to go to the next level. And in my opinion, you're treating trading as a hobby, not a business. So the real question is, are you treating it as a hobby, or are you treating it as a business? My guess is the majority of you are treating it as a hobby. Now, you may think that you're treating it as a business, but I bet if I sat down with you or had a Skype call with you, we would find out different. So when you're sitting in front of the monitors, it's important to also take notes of things that you see in price behavior. You see, we live in a day right now that computers have taken over trading. So things happen very quickly. And the beautiful thing about a tick chart, which is this chart here on the left, is each bar represents a certain number of orders. Now, there can be 100 contracts in an order, but that order represents one order. So a 133 tick chart tells me that 133 orders have executed. So in theory, the faster that the bars are printing, the more volume inside of those bars, right? Makes sense? So these algorithms, these computers, these systems, they leave little footprints. You see, that's what the LCP zone was measuring. Now, I refined the LCP zone to incorporate volume. And that's what you're looking at today. So I want to really walk through this system so you understand the direction that I went in my trading. And honestly, I couldn't be more thrilled. Now, I want to talk, before I get into this, I want to mention a couple of things. So when I first got into trading, I read a bunch of books. I'm sure a lot of you have done the same thing. So if you have, then you're going to recognize these names that I'm going to mention. If you haven't read a lot of books, then you have no idea who the hell I'm talking about. And shame on you, honestly. So I want to start with Paul Tudor Jones. Okay, if there was a Hall of Fame of traders, he'd be in it. He was a large trader in the 80s. He still manages money today. I want to mention Ed Sequoia. Now, Ed Sequoia is actually very famous. He, over 20 years, produced a 250,000% return. You heard that right, 250,000% over 20 years. And then I want to talk about George Soros. Now, he's a political figure now, but he's one hell of an investor. Now, these three people have two things in common. Thing number one, they're all three billionaires. Now, I don't know, maybe I have a couple billionaires listening to my channel, but I'd be shocked. If I do, please email me. Number two, or thing two, none of them trade above a 30% win rate. They all three trade between 20 and 30%. So let me ask you something. Why do you expect to trade at 60, 70% win percentage? And more importantly, why does win percentage even matter? It matters for one reason. It's the 6 inches between your ears, right? The psychology behind it. Because it's hard to take a bunch of losses in a row, right? Or is it? Okay, so let me now walk through exactly what I'm doing here. And then what my goal is here, guys, is I want to start just showing you all the signals every single day. Because I want you to see there is no BS in here. That is one thing that I pride myself on in trading. There's no BS, right? I either lose or I win. And I don't have a problem either way. I've had people in my room who saw me take a massive hit live, okay? And recover. It's okay, right? It's part of the game. All right. There's only two trade types, right? I have a trade that I just call it the trend trade. It's when my 5-minute trend direction and my 15-minute trend direction are the same color. And then I'm taking my first opportunity of whatever zone, the same color zone, right? The other one is the zone inside of the zone. So but it has to be a fresh zone on my tick chart. Now I can be inside of an old zone on my 5 or 15 minute, but it has to be a fresh zone on my tick. And so if it's a bearish zone, the high of that zone needs to be at least within 2 ticks of the low of the 5 or 15 minute zone. Or it can be inside, right? And then these zones are taken out once I get a full body close above the high of a bearish zone. That's why you can see on this bar right here, the zone still prints. But then on this bar, it's gone, right? And same on the 5 and the 15. Okay, so I want to walk through the trades from today. And if you want to, get a piece of paper out, and then let's just just tally it up. You know, put a column for W and a column for L. We're going to do the same thing on this and on the 12 range. The 12 range rules are much simpler. As of right now, I'm not using any trend direction. Now, the only reason, to be honest with you, is because my programmer has had some personal issues, and so he's been off the grid for a couple months. So once he comes back, I'm going to get those coded, and I'll see if they enhance the system at all. All right, so I always wait for the 8:30 open. So here's my 8:30 open, and you can see both my 5-minute and my 15-minute are red, but I never get an opportunity to sell. So there's no trade in here. So let's move on. Wrong way. Okay, so right now at this point in time, my 5-minute is neutral. And just so you know, gang, so it doesn't turn neutral until after the close of this bar. This candle, it says 8:30. That's the open of the candle, which it's a 5-minute candle, so that means the close is at 8:35. So at 8:35, I go neutral. All right, makes sense? All right, no trades. Unfortunately, because I missed some great opportunities here, right? It would have been a great trade out of this zone because it's within 2 ticks of the high, but I can't take it. All right, another good trade here. Can't take it. All right, let's just keep going here. So I'm missing all this action because right now I literally have nothing to do. Now, one thing I do want to take note of. So I want to go back here. I haven't tested this, but one thing that I've noticed is when I'm in a 5-minute or a 15-minute zone and I get my weaker high or weaker low pattern, it's a good trade. So here's your weaker high pattern, and this trade hits target. Now, that's not one of my trade types right now, but I am going to start watching for it. Okay, let's keep going. Still no trades. Now, I could take a short here if I get a zone inside of a zone, right? Ooh, here we go. All right. So right here, you can see I do have a zone inside of the zone. I have a fresh tick zone, and it's inside of the bottom part of the zone. Mat lines up with the top of the 5-minute zone. So if I get a pullback into within 2 ticks of the bottom here or inside of the zone, I have a trade. All right, here we go. So here's a PPT bar. Then I get a new candle with a higher close. So now I'm waiting for either a down red bar or a PPT bar. Here's my entry, 86.50. Okay, I'm using a 7-tick stop and a 40-tick target, which is 10 points, so 86.50. So I need to get 76.50. And there it is. All right. So it's always nice to start the day with a winner. So we have a winner. Okay. Now, after I have a winning trade, I need to have a reset. Now, a reset requires 2 things. It requires a close above my most recent red zone if I'm bearish. So in this case, I am bearish because this was a bearish trade. Okay, even though my indicators aren't bearish. But in order for me to take another trade here, I would have to have a close above my most recent zone, and I'd have to have an opposite zone print. So that means if I'm bearish, I need to have a full body close above the high of my most recent bear zone. Now, I can have a fresh bear zone print down here, and that will be my most recent, right? And then I need a green zone. Once those 2 things happen, I have my reset, and then I just look for the next zone. I don't use old zones on the tick chart. All right, so let's just move on. So no trades, no trades. Now, price It's unfortunate, right? Because these are some nice trades here, but I can't take them. Actually, those weren't nice trades. Okay. Do I have a zone inside the zone here? I don't, right? Actually, you know what? That's actually not true. If you look at the 15-minute, I do, because my 15-minute zone has not been closed above. So I do have a zone inside the zone here on the 15. Do I have it down here? No. Do I have it down here? No. Now, I don't remember, I have to have a fresh zone in order for it to be a zone inside the zone. This is not my fresh zone, right? Because I had 2 more zones print. So nothing, no trades. Okay, here, I've got a zone inside the 15-minute zone right here. So this is a trade. My short entry be right here at 75.75. And I'm stopped out. Make sense? Okay. Okay, now, officially, I am green and green. So I can start looking for longs. Let's see if this one got within 2 ticks. It did not. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, so here's a green zone. So I'd be taking a trade out of this green zone right here, and that's a loser. Okay. Now look, notice my 15-minute zone officially is gone. Right, I got a full body close above. So the 15-minute zone is gone, and I have a full body close above my 5. So both 15 and 5-minute zones are gone. I'd be looking for a trade back here if it sets up. It never sets up. Or does it? It does right here. Okay, so I'm still green, right? I'm still green over here until 10:30. So it's 10:26 on the tick chart, so I've got a long entry right here and stopped out. Okay. Now I'm neutral, so no trades. It's really a shame because I think there's probably some good trades in here. Actually, maybe not. Nope, kept me out of a bunch of trades. Okay. Still no trades. Okay, so I'm not green yet on this one until 11:45. Because that bar on the 5-minute is at 11:40, so it closes at 11:45, at which point we'll go green. Okay, so I am green here. See, where's my entry? Okay, I want to look at this one real quick right here. See, here's my PPT bar. Notice how I never get a tick above the high. So there's no entry here, but I do get an entry right here. So there's another loser. So at this point I have 1 winner and 4 losses. Now I'm back red on my 5-minute. So no trades. This is not a trade. Okay, look, I'm green and green. So this is a trade right here. My entry, 89.25, 1 tick above the high. I need 99.25. There it is. There's a winner. Okay, a couple things right now. So remember, I need a reset. So remember the reset after my target. After my target. See, this down here does not count. It doesn't count that I got a red zone and a break below my most recent green, because at this point I had not hit target yet. Now that I have hit target, I need to have a red zone, a fresh red zone, and a green zone and break below the low of it. And remember, I can start looking. Now I'm inside of a red zone on the 5-minute. I can start looking for a zone inside the zone. But remember, it has to be a fresh zone. So these don't count. Okay? This doesn't count. It's a great trade, but it doesn't count. Now, what is this? It's a potential weaker high, but it didn't complete the pattern. All right, so now I have a red zone. Remember, I still need a green zone. And I do not have a zone inside the zone yet, because the low of this zone right here is 63.25. The high of this zone is 62.99. They don't line up. They're not within 2 ticks of each other. Okay, right here, guys, look at this. 63.25. Here it is. So my entry would have been on this down red bar right here at 62.97.75, and I would have been stopped right there, and I would have re-entered. So I would have had 2 losses there. So now I have 6 losses. Okay, and the zone's taken out. Okay, moving on. No green zone yet. Here's a weaker high inside of the 5-minute zone. Beautiful. Okay, here's another trade, right? This is a zone inside the zone. So I'd be short right here at 63 even. And you get down to I need to get down to 62.90. Right there. So there's a winner. And then we have the end of the trading day. Okay, so simple, right? Now, so we ended the day with 6 losses and 3 wins. Now, I'm keeping tabs on a spreadsheet here. So I've already put it in here. This is the week, right? So now I've had 260 trades with 58 winners, 22% return, 22% win percentage. Now, this is per contract, okay? These numbers right here are per contract. And I'm risking 1.4% of the account per trade, so very conservative. So my net return is based off of 2,500. So you can see per contract after slippage, after commission is $2,900. Now this is over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 weeks. 116% return. Now, what I put down here, I kind of filled this in because I looked at the last video and realized it's a little confusing. But I used to always risk $150 per contract in oil. So if I were risking $150 a contract here, it'd actually be $140, but I have $11,000 gain after commissions and slippage, and that's just in 5.5 weeks. Guys, that's pretty damn good. Now, at one point in oil, I was risking $900. So if I were risking $900 on this strategy, it's $72,000. Now, what's interesting here is when I was risking $900 on oil, there's only 6 contracts. With this, it's 25. Not bad. Okay, so that is on the tick chart side. Now, what I want to do is I want to take a quick look at the 12 range. Now, the 12 range was kind of a mess today, to be honest with you. It actually had a really bad day. One of the worst days that I've seen it have in some time. But here's what's interesting. I want to start at the hard right edge. So here's 830. So here's your first trade. So it's a loss. Then look what happens, guys. The market just takes off. I don't get a trade out of this zone. I don't get a trade out of this zone. Oh, before I start, guys, let me just recap how I trade this. So if my most recent zone was a red zone, I take shorts only, and then I wait for a full body close above the red zone, and then I look for longs in the green zone. Okay, it's that simple. So I don't get a long here, I don't get a long here. Look how the market just takes off. So right now at this point, I'd be looking for a trade back at this zone because it's my most recent zone. look what happens. Price comes right back into it. Now, there's no short here because I haven't closed below with a full body close below the last green zone. So here's my entry. 66.5. I do 2 ticks above, and I use a 3-point stop. So there's a winner. And I'm looking for a 15-point target. So 3-point stop, 15-point target. And then I don't require a reset. So here's another trade. 79. This one gets close to a target. No target. Stopped out. Okay, now I broke through the green, so I can take a short in the red right here. So I have a stop here, and then another stop here, another stop here, and another one here. So in this series, I have 4 losses. So now I have 6 losses and 1 win. Okay, keep track with me here, okay? Now I have a full body close above. So in order for me to take a trade back at the green zone, if price has already hit the green zone, price has to at least come and touch the low of the move into the zone. So in this case, here's my low of the zone. Or, I'm sorry. Here's the low of the retrace into the zone. So in order for me to take another trade, price has to come back to here. Come on, computer. Okay, it comes back in, and this is a valid trade right there. That's a loss. Price breaks below, so I'd be shorting right here. That's another loss. Keep track with me. All right, does this get within 2 ticks? Let's see. 73.50. No, it's 3 ticks, so no trade here. But I can take a long. Here's a trade. 75.50. And you get to 90.50. There it is. There's a winner. Okay, now I could take another trade, but it has to come back into at least this low here at 72. There it is. So I could be long right here at 73.50. Now here's a shame, gang. Look at this. 73.50 down to 70.50. That's a stop out. And look, it goes on to be a nice winning trade. One thing I'm considering is moving this down to an 8 range so I can get rid of that. But regardless, let's just continue. So that's a loss. Okay, now I can trade out of the next green zone. So here's a trade for a loss. Here's a trade loss. Now I do have it comes down and hits the equal low, so I can get in again at 75.75. That's a winner. Okay, now I can trade out of here. So there's a loss, and there's a loss, so 2 more. And then that's my day. So actually a pretty bad day here for this side. I had 13 losses and 3 wins. So let's just do some quick math here. So we'll start with the wins. 3 times 300. So we have $900 in gross profit. 13 times 60. Let's see what that is. $780. Commission. We have 16 trades. Is $80. You know, so what, $40 net profit? Okay. So, look, we had 16 trades here, and I only had 3 winners. That's an 18% win percentage, almost 19. Still have a net profit. I don't know about you guys, but I find that incredibly comforting. No longer do I have to stress out about what my win percentage is. I just have to go for a much larger win. So I'm going to continue this, well, how about we just call it a mental shift series? I'm going to continue this. Seriously, think about what I'm doing here. All right, gang. I hope you have a great rest of your week.